All right, this video is for a fellow named Don. We're going to create a SMT um, footprint for this stereo jack. This is what the example he gave shows. This is what the dimensions show, so I'll show you how to do that. Hopefully EasyEDA stays online. They've been having issues, but we'll see. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we have to create the symbol. So we'll do File, New, Symbol. We're going to zoom in a bunch. You don't want to make your symbols too big. We're going to choose a rectangle and we'll make it there. If we look at the schematic down here, you see it goes to the right. So we'll mimic that. Got to change our snap size. I right click, snap size, change it to 1. Got the line. We'll grab that in the middle, go up to this line, go this way a bit. Then we're going to grab pin 1 and set it on there. That. All right, so that's our ground, our sleeve. Okay, pin 2 is at the bottom, so we'll do that. And you can do your angle however you like. Remember, this is just a schematic symbol, so it doesn't really matter. When you grab that, we want this to be on the same line, so we'll do that. Now we've got 2. Go back to the line. This one starts up higher and comes down. There we go. And then we'll grab pin number 3, get that on the same line, and we're done. So now we're just change the prefix over here. That's going to be the default prefix every time you make a new component. We want that to be J for jack. Now we're going to do a Control C and Control S for save, and we'll call this stereo underscore jack. And you don't have to fill out any of this stuff. You can if you want to. Hit save. That does help people if you upload it. Hit save. All right, so now we need a footprint for this. If we click on footprint, we can pick an existing footprint, but we don't have one yet that we want to use. So we go to File, New, Footprint. Okay, so first thing we want to do here is set up our grid. Let's look here. We've got millimeters, right? And it's 7.5. So let's go ahead and set our grid size. We're going to set it to 1 millimeter. Okay, so each of these is 1 millimeter. Our snap size, we need to do 0.5. So we'll go ahead and right click, snap size, and we'll set the snap size to 0.5 of a millimeter. Now we're set up. Now if we look at our drawing, everything's dimensioned from this point here, right? We've got 3 millimeters this way, and this is the center line. So that's the same thing we're going to mimic in our footprint. Now, if you look at the entire dimensions of this, it's 9 by 10. Okay, so the 9 is the height, and then 10 is the width. All right, so 9 is 4.5 from the center, right? So we're going to switch to our silk screen layer because we want this to be on the silk screen. And we'll click on the track and we'll go up 4.5. See where it says track length? 4.5, that's half of 9. And then we'll go 10. And then we'll go down to minus 4.5. Well, actually the track length now is 9 because we're doing the whole thing. And then we'll go back up. Once we're done, we right click to end it. All right, so now our silk screen is done. This is the outline that will be printed on top of the circuit board. Next, we're going to put our holes in. If you look at this, we've got 2 holes on center. One of them is 3 millimeters and the other one is 5 millimeters. The diameter is 1.6 millimeters. So we're going to click on this, which is our hole. And remember, we want it to be 3. So I'm going to look down in my lower left. If you look at mouse minus X, that's 2.5, that's 3. So that's where we want it. And then the other one is 5 from that, so that's 8. So we want to go to 8 and click that. They're too big right now. So what you do is click on it, and we're going to change the diameter up here. And we're going to change the diameter to 1.7. I like to make them just slightly bigger. That's up to you if you want to go right with 1.6. 1.7. All right, so now we've got our holes done. Now we need our pads. If we look at the the stereo jack that Don has has 3 pins. It doesn't have these 5 pins. So we're going to use pins 1 down here. See the 1, 2 up here, and 3 down here. If we look, they're 1.5 millimeters wide. The outside is 13 and the inside is 6. So if we subtract those, we get 7. So that means these are 3.5 millimeters tall, right? 3.5 is, yeah, half of 7. So they're 3.5 millimeters by 1.5, and it's centered on 7.5. So let me show you how to do that. We need to create a pad. So we click on pad. It's going to be a circle. That's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll throw it up here. That's a through hole pad, right? We go over here. We're going to change it to the top layer. Okay, so now it's a surface mount pad. We don't want round. We want rectangle. Okay. The width, we do want 1.5. And the height, what do we say? 3.5 millimeters. Okay. Now what we got to figure out is the center X and the center Y. So the center X is minus 7.5. Remember, that comes from right here, this dimension right here, 7.5. And then the center Y, so we've got 3 millimeters from the center up to this pad, and then we've got half of 3.5. So if we go to our calculator and we say 3 plus 3.5 divided by 2, we're at 4.75. So this needs to be 4.75 on center. So let's go back to that. We check this one. We want to do 4.75. 4.75. Boom. So that's pin number 1. What's the problem? That's not pin number 1 in the diagram. That's pin number 2. See that? So I messed up, right? But I can click on it and I can change the number right here. Pin number 2. All right. So now we're going to create a new pad. It's going to, by default, keep it the same size, which is nice. We're going to put this pad here, and we'll put this pad here just randomly. Remember, this is supposed to be pad number 1, and then this is pad number 3. If you mess these up, then you're going to mess up your whole circuit. So you want to make sure you get the footprint correct. All right, so we know that the height was, if we look at this one, it's 4.75. So we know this one needs to be minus 4.75. This one needs to be minus 4.75. Okay, and then we want this one to be centered the same as this one. It messed up the minus 4.75. Remember, you can change everything here. This is at minus 7.5, right? And then this one is 2.8. So we click here, and the center X is minus 2.8. Boom. So that creates, that completes our footprint. So we're going to save this. I'm going to call it stereo underscore jack 253. I'm just doing that because I had already run through this a couple times. I'm not sure if I already named something that. So let's call it 253 just so we can find it easy. Hit save. Okay, we just saved it. We can close it out here. We're back on our symbol. Now, when we click on footprint, if we look at the workspace and all of my libraries, we should see that jack. Let's see. Maybe I got to refresh or something. Let me try. Go to the library. So we've got stereo jack here, and you see it doesn't have a footprint. So let me close that out. Let's go to our library. I've got the stereo underscore jack. That's the one we just created. I'm going to edit it, and then I'm going to click on footprint and see if it shows up. It should be in here. I'm going to pause the video and figure out what happened. Okay, well, EasyEDA is having a bunch of issues with, I don't know if they've got a denial of service or what's going on. But anyways, let me show you let me finish out this video. We're going to click on footprint here. We're going to choose stereo jack. This is one I made earlier. It's the same as the 253 that we just created. I just had run through to make sure I remembered how to do stuff. So if we click that, you'll notice that the pads are mapped correctly. 1 goes to 1, 2 goes to 2, and 3 goes to 3. That's super important. So look at that, make sure you're good. Update the footprint. And then close that. Now we have to save this. We got this asterisk, Control S to save. We just saved the stereo jack. Now let's test it out. We'll recreate this schematic real quick. We'll click on library, and you'll see I have 2. This is the one I did earlier. The one we just did is this one here. You'll notice that it has a schematic symbol and a footprint. You need both of those. Hit place. We'll stick it here. We'll go to the common library. We'll grab a capacitor and a resistor. Hit W for wire. We'll connect these guys. And then we'll connect the ground to the end of that capacitor. And that one to there. So we have a complete circuit now. We'll hit save. Not a very useful, but complete circuit. We'll click create the PCB. Hit yes. There's our PCB. We can drag this guy. Drag these guys around. This is our jack. So, you know, normally it's going to be on the end of the PCB like that, except this end is the end with the plug on it, right? So we need to be on this side. I'll show you real quick how you can edit that if you want. Let's see. And then we go like that, and then we can test it out. We're on the top layer. So I can connect this one. Oops. And that works. Can connect this one. That works. Oops. There we go, that works. And then I can connect these guys. So we're done. Our little circuit's done. And that completes it. If we do a 2D rendering, we can see that there's holes where we need the holes. And if we do a 3D rendering, you can rotate around, see what it looks like. Let me close that out. Looks like EasyEDA might be having problems again. Edit. Let's see. Okay, it looks like it's saved. I can close that out. If I go to Tools, you got your Footprint Manager, and we can find that footprint, stereo jack. I can edit it right here. That'll bring it back up. Let's say we want to make a label. There's a few different ways you can do this. We'll go to the top silk screen, and we'll just, one quick way would be, you know, a simple arrow like that. Now you can, you know, draw a representation of the output, you know, jack, but of course that's going to get cut off on the PCB, right? Because if your PCB goes right to here, then this part won't be printed on it. So it might be better to put a direction arrow like that. I don't know, it's up to you. And then of course, don't forget to save. And that concludes the video. Hope it helps. Bye.